This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. You jump in, we'll talk about your life and your money. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, and author of the brand new book that is on pre-sale right now, From Paycheck to Purpose, The Clear Path to Doing What You Love. He's my co-host today. He does the Ken Coleman Show on 75-plus radio stations, answering your questions about your career, about your job, about finding and living in your passion because you spend too much time doing something you hate. So all those kinds of questions, along with the normal stuff we take here on The Ramsey Show, the phone number is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Brad's in Washington, D.C. Hey, Brad, how are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
Excellent. Well, I'm proud to say that I'm a baby step sevener.
Whoa. Good for you.
Thank you, sir. And I'm only 40.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel young, but people probably think I'm old.
Just a mere pup.
We don't, for the record, Brad. We're older than you. We think you're very young.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So my question is regarding my emergency fund that I've held for a few years. I update it annually based on how much money we spend, so I make sure I'm keeping 6 months in our emergency fund. Mm-hmm. However, I also have savings of, the next 2 years for 2022 and 2023 of our retirement account, contribution to the Roth, our hazard insurance for our home, our real estate property tax, my 529 plan for my child, HSA, what else?
You have that saved up for 2 years?
For the next 2 years. Right.
Why?
Because I don't know what else to do. It's a safety net.
It's beyond a safety net.
Right. Well, it's good when January 1st comes. Like one of my proudest moments is to be able to make those contributions, so I can
one fell
start
swoop.
The year off well.
Okay.
Right. One fell swoop. So I do the transfers. Boom. All right. So emergency fund. I was kind of thinking like it's burning a hole in my brain just sitting in the internet savings account.
You have 2 years of this other crap sitting in a savings account, but this is burning a hole in your brain.
Yeah. So
that's weird.
The reason being, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But can I use in my thought process is, should I use this additional savings for all those various things kind of as my quasi emergency fund? Do I need an emergency fund in addition to that stuff?
Okay. It's good to have some money. It gives you peace, okay, and it gives you a thrill to hit the submit button in January. I get that. None of those accounts, you have money sitting there for those accounts. It could be used for any type of emergency if something superseded in your life, right? Something bigger hit.
Correct.
And so you need to pay for a relative's funeral. Suddenly you want to do that, you can do that out of any of those funds. It doesn't matter. Your car transmission goes out, all of those things. That's what emergency funds are for. The unexpected events. Do you see how it's inconsistent to be worried about the emergency fund sitting there doing nothing while you have all this other money sitting there doing nothing also?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I was laughing. That's what I was poking at you about.
The concern.
Yeah, you're a wee bit conservative, yeah. But it's okay. I have a feeling you're a baby step 7, you're 40, you're probably a millionaire or pretty close. You will be soon, if not. And so none of the loss of income on all of these funds is not a problem.
Right.
It gives you peace, and that's what it's for. So I do not keep that much. I do not label cash 2 years in advance for anything. I have piles of cash that are in retained earnings in the business. I have an emergency fund. And I have stuff that is coming up this year that I've earmarked and set aside, but I don't have 2 years out on anything. But it does not give me a thrill to dump it all and hit the submit button in January either, and it gives you a thrill. So if you want to do it, you've got the money. That's all fine. But if I were going to cut back anything, it would not be your emergency fund. It would be that over-saving or early saving for those other things. What are you hearing?
I'm hearing a hyper super achiever who's going, I'm in baby steps. He's a baby steps millionaire. And he's so far ahead. He's got all those accounts set aside so he can do it. This is a guy who loves to achieve, and he's a really meticulous planner, and I think that's all wonderful. I would tell him to relax a little bit. You don't get to baby step 7 by accident. Relax a little bit, and you're not the 6-month emergency fund's not burning a hole in anything. That's what it's there for. Go invest in something else. Go give some of that money and see life change.
Set some of that money aside for random, crazy, outrageous generosity.
Yeah.
Just go buy somebody a car.
You're very impressive. You don't need to do any more.
Very cool. You've done an amazing job.
Yeah.
An amazing job. But yeah, you're an overachieving super nerd, and that's what I am. So I kind of relate to. I understand how you're doing this. It didn't bother my emotions because I'm kind of right there with you, dude. But I also don't actually physically, tactically do that either.
Yeah.
So, hey, good question. Thank you for joining us. Jane's in Chicago. Hi, Jane. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for having me. How are you today?
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
Good. Hey, I have a question about my parents. They are both retired, have sold their home to move closer to my husband and our children, went over budget on the purchase of their home. They drained the retirement account to be able to purchase a home in this market, despite our concerns with that. My question is, how do we help them going forward? My dad has a retirement from his state job, a pension, but my mother has nothing, and they have no long-term care insurance.
Well, I think there's two things you can do. One is if, to the extent that they will accept your coaching, I would coach them on their budget and on purchasing some long-term care insurance. 75% of the ladies outlive their husbands. So Papa goes into the nursing home, cracks and scrambles what little nest egg there is, going to the nursing home, dies, and Mama's left with nothing. And that's what you're outlining here. That's what the future looks like. So we need to we need to fix that with long-term care insurance. If they will accept your coaching, you can step in and help them with their budget, but they didn't accept your coaching on the house purchase. The second thing you can do is you just go do what you're supposed to do and become wealthy, because only the strong can help the weak. You don't need a mutual fund that's nicknamed Mom and Dad. You just need a big pile of money. And when you've got wealth, if you want to help a relative, then you're in a position to do that. This is The Ramsey Show.
Stop paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless.
Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. He's the host of the new book, From Paycheck to Purpose, The Clear Path to Doing Work You Love. If you pre-order it now at RamseySolutions.com, you will get $100 to $150 worth of extra goodies, and there's all kinds of things happening around this book. You need to get a hold of it and look at the assessment as well, which has been very popular, Ken.
Yeah, the Get Clear Career Assessment, Dave, is about a 15-minute digital assessment, and we're going to give you a great report on what you do best, your top talents, the kind of work you love. We call that passion. You'll get your report on that. And then mission, the results that you want to put out into the workplace through your work. Talent, passion, mission report. You also get a purpose statement with that that is very detailed and really becomes your North Star as you look towards any professional growth. And then also professional possibilities for those who are looking to figure out what is it that I'm supposed to do with my life. So it's a great resource that if you get that and the book, it's an unbelievable bundle for $30. So that's a really good deal.
It's a really good deal. From Paycheck to Purpose and the Get Clear Assessment, all at RamseySolutions.com. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Free samples, free shipping, and new promos all the time. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best deal.
Today's question comes from Sean in Missouri. I'm currently in baby step 2, and I will be completely debt-free next year. I have a career, but I'm not sure if it's my calling. Is it a bad idea while I'm in baby step 2 to pay for a one-time coaching session with a career counselor to get some career goals and get some guidance on how to reach those goals? I can budget in the expense and pay for it with cash on hand so I wouldn't incur additional debt. That's not a bad idea. That is a very inexpensive in the grand scheme of things. If you're in control of that budget and you cash flow for one session, that's not going to cost you too much. I would do my homework, though, and make sure that it's a reputable coach. But I'd like to save you the money on the coaching session. And for $30, you can get that Get Clear Career Assessment at RamseySolutions.com and get your results, and then call the Ken Coleman Show. Give me 5 minutes, and then we can decide on a career coach. And I think even then, that is a good decision to get some clarity from somebody else, and so that we begin to say, all right, now I can begin to see the mountaintop, and I can figure out how to climb up the mountaintop. So you can definitely cash flow that. Good idea.
Os Guinness years ago did a book called The Calling.
Yes.
And, man, I guess that was probably 25 years ago I read that book, something like that. But I've noticed in my life that the first thing I started doing was earning money to eat.
Yes.
And so get the wolf away from the door, pay the bills, that kind of stuff. Took a job.
Yes.
The second thing I did was I moved from that into a career.
Yes.
With meaning. And I'm talking about the stuff I do today. It didn't start all altruistic. I didn't start with a clear understanding that this was the calling on my life. Now I can look back 30 years later and say, of working in the same thing, and say this was a call.
Yep.
It was God's call on my life, and I'm sure of that. And those of you that have benefited by the things we do around here are sure of that. And so, but when I started, and I get in front of the microphone the first time, write the first book, I was still in career mode at that point. I was beyond job. I was trying to do something with meaning and so forth, but I would not have been prepared truthfully.
Yes.
To say that's a calling. I had to realize that a little bit later.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad you actually brought this up.
Now, I'm not sure when you're 21 and you're in college, you know what your calling is.
No. But I would say if we redefine calling for just a moment and say calling is to be who you were created to be. Now, once you find out the answer to that, you can make a great career out of that, and that's what we teach. But calling, if we really look at it, we say, what is calling? And that's how we at Ramsey Solutions look at work. When we say work's not a 4-letter word, folks, we're trying to challenge you to say you were created to work, created to contribute. And so calling is realizing that there's something that I was created to do because I've got talent. It turns out there's things I love to do, and it turns out there's results that really fire my heart up. So calling is actually being who you're supposed to be. Career, multiple ways to fulfill calling.
And I suppose the phrase evolved from people of faith, where a pastor would say, God called me to preach. And our good friend Rabbi Lapin, Jewish Orthodox rabbi, says that the word worship and the word work are very similar words in Hebrew. That in a very real sense, that when you're working, you're worshiping.
That's exactly what it is.
And that's why we have worship service on the weekend and customer service on Monday. And so that's there's a lot of overlap there. And so calling is saying, it's a throwback, whether you're a person of faith or not, you're accidentally throwing back to people of faith and saying, okay, God's calling me. His calling on my life is this, which is what you were saying. It's what you're designed to do.
That's it. So we are all called to contribute, if I'm going to say that. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what God wants for us, is to just be us, because we all have got something unique to contribute.
Phone number here is 888-825-5225. Pamela is with us in Greensboro, North Carolina. Hi, Pamela. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
All right. So my fiance and I are brand new listeners. We are in baby step 2. I'm going to try to keep this brief. Basically, I had a marriage end after I purchased a house a few years ago. We split about 3 months after the purchase. He has no legal anything to do with the house. And basically, I went into a Chapter 13 bankruptcy to try to save it. I was living in the house at the time. I got a job that is about an hour away in Greensboro. So we moved, me and my fiance moved outside of Greensboro. We are currently renting a trailer and renting out the property, which is a, fairly nice property with an in-ground pool that we pay expenses for. We do have a current tenant there, but with the property value increasing right now, I'm wondering if we should just sell the house and take a little bit of profit.
Yes.
Okay. I made that easy.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The house has nothing to do with your future. It has everything to do with your past.
Exactly.
And really, it's a problem. It's not a blessing.
Okay. And that's what I've been feeling. It's been a lot of stress.
Well, you have a pool.
Yes.
So I know it's a problem. I know it's a problem.
Yes.
I hate my pool.
Otherwise known as money pits?
It's a money pit. So I'm kidding, but you said you brought the pool up, which tells me you got a hassle, and it's a couple hours away, and you're having to screw these tenants and screw this pool, and it's all got to do with the past and not the future. Dump that thing. It's a problem. It's not a blessing.
All right.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was leaning toward. I think I just need a validation because everyone I talk to is like, no, you should keep it. Blah, blah,
well,
blah.
everybody's broken dumb. Don't listen to everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah. You knew in your heart what you needed to do. You just wanted somebody to say it out loud.
I think so.
Yeah, you're smart enough to make this decision.
Yeah.
Get after it, kiddo. Get after it. And then you use that money to clean up whatever mess is left over from the Chapter 13, dismiss the 13 voluntarily, step out of it, and then you can start to rebuild your life from there. You guys get your marriage done, and then you start talking about buying something on your own after you're debt-free and have an emergency fund. Hold on, I'm going to send you a wedding gift. It's called the Total Money Makeover. It's helped 8 million people get out of debt. Appreciate you being a new listener. This is what we do here on your show and my show. We say what people already know they're supposed to do, and we get paid for it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly. A double blessing on that is that it's not just the financial win, but the emotional win. I love that you pointed that out. That represents a bad season. Get rid of it.
There's some stuff you just don't want to keep around. It's like, I remember that. What do you do with that? Bad. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Cleaning out my house right now. Getting ready to move, and I'm finding some stuff like that. I'm like, what's that still doing here? Just gonna get rid of that. It's a problem. This is The Ramsey Show. Bobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. Michael and Angela are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. Welcome. Where do you guys live?
We live in just north of Dayton, Ohio, about an hour.
Okay, great. Welcome to Nashville. And you're here to do a debt-free scream. How much did you pay off?
$123,000.
Excellent. And how long did that take you?
About 4 years and 5 months.
All right. And your household income range during that time?
About $89,000 at the beginning, and then we ended at $110,000.
Excellent. What do y'all do for a living?
I'm a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And I work in business administration.
Very good. Awesome, guys. What kind of debt was the $123,000?
It was a car in our house.
All right.
Wow.
Look at it, weird people. House is paid for. Everything. You're done.
We did it.
Yeah, I love that, guys. How old are you two?
I'm 39.
I'm 36.
And you're not even 40 years old. What's the house worth?
About $216,000.
Boom.
Yep.
It is all yours.
Yes.
100% yours.
Yes.
You ever think you'd have a paid-for house?
30 years from the time we signed the documents, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I'm 90?
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe when I get there. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But not before you're 40.
No.
Yeah.
Wow. Very impressive. Very cool. So tell us the story. What happened?
Well, I'm the free spirit. He loves to save. So it was kind of just one of those things. And, I don't want to talk about money. One day I was at work and I had a coworker come up to me and say, oh, hey, so-and-so's over there listening to Dave Ramsey. And I was like, well, who's Dave Ramsey? And she's like, oh, he's some money guy. He thinks he's got a podcast. So I instantly turned on the podcast and went home the evening and I was like, hey, do you know who Dave Ramsey is? And he was like, no, I don't think so. So I listened a few more days and I was like, I think we can do this. He's like, it took a guy on a radio for you to figure that out.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, I was saying the same things you say all the time. Just didn't listen.
Yeah. Common sense, and then some guy on the radio makes her a genius. Yeah.
Right.
I said
There was a little jealousy there at first, I'm sure.
I
was
don't blame you.
This bald guy on the radio
little resentment.
took over.
I'm with you, brother.
It's all about the tone. It's all about the tone, okay?
Yeah, Dave can get away with that on the air, but if he tries that, he's on the couch.
Yeah, there we go. That's right.
Well, it's not my wife, too.
That's exactly right.
That's
exactly
helpful,
right.
too, yeah. If I try that at home, I might be on the go.
Oh, sure.
Oh, my gosh. Way to go, you guys. So that gets you started 4 years and 5 months ago on the podcast.
Yeah.
And you come home and he said, of course, no kidding, let's do this.
Yep.
And then what did you guys do?
Well, basically, made a budget, stuck to it. Every time I saw too many Amazon boxes showing up, I knew something was going off the rails, so, brought it up that way. But
we have an Amazon box detector on the front porch.
We do. We do.
Yeah, so...
The Ring doorbell notifies me while I'm at work and you broke the budget.
Yeah. So I made the budget, stuck to it, and we set a goal for paying it off at 10 years, the house mortgage, and we did it in 9. So we beat our goal because it just worked out that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Wow, way to go. You beat it a bunch. 4 years and 5 months, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty impressive. Very cool.
Yep.
Now, outside the two of you, who were your biggest cheerleaders?
I'd say our parents.
Parents on both
and my
sides.
sister. Outside that, everybody thought we were off our rocker, so it's fine.
Of course.
What are you guys doing? Okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
So, what did you do that, besides just telling people this, maybe that made people think you were off your rocker? I'm curious. What are some intense gazelle things maybe that you did?
I mean, I think we just said no a lot to
going out.
new cars. We kind of just stuck with, hey, we got a bigger goal here. At least for me, that's how I felt.
Yeah, I've always lived that way. So.
Yeah, he's fine living like that.
He's like, this was
I'm
that.
like,
He's like, again,
This is
I've
the way
already
it's
said
supposed
all
to be.
this.
Yeah.
What did you? What is the account for the big jump in pay? I mean, that's a nice little jump right there. What happened?
Well, actually, right before this, I took a pay cut to move to a different job to spend more time with the family, and then I got raises to be back up to where I was at before, so it worked out.
Great.
Yeah, so he got promoted, and then I changed jobs a couple times during the process.
Okay,
Yep.
wow.
And thank you for your service.
Yeah.
What you do.
Yeah, congratulations, y'all. Well done. How's it feel to have no payments?
Amazing.
I'm still kind of in shock. You're waiting for every month to the payment to come out, or and now it's like, oh my gosh, it's ours. So
there it is.
Yeah.
There it is, just like that.
Yeah.
Love it. Way to go. So when people ask how you paid off your house before you're 40, there's people watching right now, listening right now. How do you do that? What is the key to getting out of debt?
Contentment was my big thing. Rachel's book, Live Your Life, Not Theirs. That is so true. I feel like social media is such a huge issue. You see everybody doing stuff, new cars,
Amen.
#blessed. So
Amen.
it's that was my struggle. He's perfectly fine living at scorched earth. And I'm like, I can't do this. So getting in your head of realizing, there's a bigger why and something, change your family tree. So.
You got to do it for the kids and yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the kids were a good motivation for us to give them a better future.
Absolutely.
Set them up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well done.
Thank you.
Very well played. Very proud of you. You got to feel accomplished.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It feels great.
You're going to be Baby Steps millionaires in no time.
Yeah, that's the plan.
You're right on your way. We got a copy of The Legacy Journey for you, and that's definitely the next chapter in your story. You've changed your legacy, and a copy of the Total Money Makeover for you to give to a friend, like that one told you to listen to the podcast that time. Same kind of thing. Spread the love out there and pay it forward. So very, very good stuff. And you brought the kiddos with you. What are their names and ages?
We have Brianna, who's 8, and Clarissa, who's 6.
All right. Very fun. Very fun. All right. It is Brianna and Clarissa, Angela, and Michael, and just north of Dayton, Ohio, $123,000 paid off, house and everything, 4 years and 5 months, making 89 to 110, and they're not even 40. Shut up. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
Yeah! I love it. Absolutely fabulous. Very, very well done, guys. Well, if you get a house, you want to get it paid for. This housing market right now is super, super hot, and your house could be worth a lot more today than it was when you bought it. What that means is if you've not updated your homeowner's insurance, you probably don't have adequate coverage. Old days, the policies automatically updated and followed the value. Nowadays, they don't do that. And so you could have a $200,000 policy on a $400,000 house. It burns and you are screwed. No, you don't want to do that. You want to keep up to date. And if your home value's gone up, or even if it's been a little while since you've shopped it, homeowners insurance is it's a good time to check it right now. You might save some money. You will probably save some money. Talk to one of our endorsed local providers. They are Ramsey trusted, and they will shop a gazillion different companies and get you the best possible buy on your homeowner's insurance. You'll likely save some serious money. Doesn't cost anything to go shopping. Just go shopping and give it a shot. See what you get. You might save $700 a year. You might save $500 a year. You never know. Text the word HOME to 33789 and talk with a trusted insurance pro about finding the right coverage for you. Text HOME to 33789. And Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today here on the air. He is the host of the Ken Coleman Show on 75 radio stations across America. And on top of that, they are played on YouTube, on podcast, and anywhere great radio is heard and great voice. It's everywhere. So it's all about you getting into the career you love, you getting into a plan that makes sense to you and where your passion lines up. The new book is called From Paycheck to Purpose, The Clear Path to Doing Work You Love. It's on pre-sale now, which means for $20 you can get the book and a whole bunch of other goodies at RamseySolutions.com. This is The Ramsey Show. Ramsey Personality is my co-host today. William is in Riverside, California. Hi, William. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Ken. What's going on? Ken, finishing up the Proximity Principle and looking forward to your new book. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my situation. I'm active duty Navy and about to be moving at least 3 times in 2022. My wife is about to graduate from her master's program in occupational therapy, and she's going to be getting her credentials to practice in the first half of the new year. We are on baby step 2 on our second to last debt, which should be paid in the next 2 months, and that would just leave us with $80,000 in student loan debt. We're looking forward to making our shovel bigger with my wife being able to work in the field. But we've been talking a lot about when we will start having kids, and we're concerned about balancing the debt snowball and starting our family. So I'd love to get some advice and comfort in this situation.
We don't decide about kids and marriages based on debt. When it's time to have babies, you have babies. You'll work it out. You got plenty of room. They're not that expensive. They don't eat that much. All this crap the kids will. I mean, if you have 17 kids, it'll break you. That's different. But if you're going to have a baby, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine. And the same thing with marriage. The only thing we tell folks about marriage is you need to be on the same page, that you're heading in the right direction together. But I don't tell people not to marry someone with debt, and I don't tell people to not have babies because they got debt. Yeah. As a matter of fact, quite the opposite. It's a good reason to have babies.
What's the timeline look like? Forget debt for just a moment to start trying to have babies with your wife moving into a new career. Have you talked about that?
A little bit. We kind of go back and forth because she does have a little bit of shame in, the fact that most of the student loan debt is hers. And I've told her, hey, that's not a big deal. But I guess somewhere between when we're moving next year, we'd like to at least start. We're going to be coming off of birth control soon, and we're just kind of looking forward to maybe mid-2022. But yes, I think it's the shame that's getting us.
No. There's no shame.
Yeah. No.
Babies are God's gift. And babies are the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah. And she's going to pay that off. Okay. She's going to make very good money as an occupational therapist. You guys are on the path. You know how to pay this off. You're going to get there. Have the babies, and you're going to get through the baby steps in the right time.
Now, let's go ahead and say she's probably an occupational therapist for a while.
Yeah.
Because you got to clean this mess up.
That's exactly right.
So it's not like she's going to be a stay-at-home mom. You don't have the budget for that.
That's correct.
But it's not that you can't have kids, for sure. So you do what you want to do. It sounds like you already are. I missed the part where I'm going to say no, and they're going to go back on birth control. That's really awkward as crud. But no, I'm definitely not going there. Yeah. So. I can't even believe I said that out loud. Yeah. But anyway, that's what he said. It's what he said. Yeah. So
it's a little warm in the studio all of a sudden for me. I don't know about anybody else. No, they'll get it. I mean, look, she can be a working mom and crush this thing, and that's beautiful.
Bo's with us in Miami. Hey, Bo, how are you?
I'm good, Dave. I'm so freaked out that I'm on air right now.
Okay. It's okay. We've never lost a patient.
Yeah, you sound pretty good.
This is crazy. Okay. Yeah, I'm Bo. I'm in Miami. I currently make $35,000. I work for a nonprofit that I really, really love, and they just called me and asked me if I'd be willing to continue working for them, but in a different state. And I'm torn because this is really what I want to do, and I like the work, but it doesn't line up with the amount of money I make. Doesn't line up with paying off my debt in 2 years. So I don't know what to I'm torn about whether I should go with the career and really let that be what drives me, or whether I should stick to the numbers and then work it out after that. I really want to be debt free as soon as possible, but I was if I'm debt free before 30, maybe that's good.
How old are you?
25.
Okay.
And you're going to pay off the debt in 2 years if you stay in the current situation making $35,000. No.
Okay. What I make right now, 35, is not going to get me that in 2 years.
Okay.
I've already paid off $23,000, and I have $59,000 to go.
Okay. Well, first of all, fantastic. So how much money do you calculate that you would need to make to be able to pay off the debt in 2 years, or even less? What's that number?
That's $70,000. That's almost $70,000, and I already do full-time work with the nonprofit. So
Right. What do you? And you're making $35,000 with this nonprofit. So another $35,000.
Really like 37. Sorry, 37.
Okay, great. Well, here's the deal. If I just want to give you an alternate narrative for a second. If you were to go get a $70,000 job, and in this economy you can right now, you probably could. If you're qualified or you could get there, you could make that money. You could also get a side hustle, a good, second job and really bust it, and you could get there and make that kind of money. But if you weren't doing this work that you love, you wouldn't be able to do that for very long. You could do it long enough to pay off that debt and then get back into the nonprofit world. That is a viable option. But you have to be okay with that. Or you can stay there and work for this organization that you really, really love, doing the work that you know you're supposed to do, and then you just bust it and you work hard and you really just cut in every waking hour at 25 years of age that you're not doing that work you love. You're doing work you have to do. And I think you can get there. So I think you've got a couple options there.
How about a third option?
Oh, here we go.
Or we find something that pays $70,000 or $100,000 a year that you love doing.
That is a viable option as well. It's not just the nonprofit work.
Why do you have to make less to love what you're doing? I don't understand this concept.
I don't think I do.
You should make more doing what you love.
Yeah. And part of me thinks like maybe that would be possible.
What is it about your work that you love?
Well, I love that I get to share the gospel, and I love that I get to really work with people that are to help communities respond to the needs of people around them.
That's very cool.
And
so do I.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I make a lot more than $35,000.
Yeah.
And I share the gospel every day.
Yeah. I've never been offered a job while I have a job, and so it's kind of hard for me to think about.
I'm not challenging the job. I'm just saying that I think the things that you are doing could be done the things that jazz you could be done a lot of different ways, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be under the heading of nonprofit.
That's correct.
Nonprofit's not in the Bible. Nonprofit is an IRS designation. It doesn't make it holy or righteous because it's nonprofit. It just means they're broke.
Yeah. So what we're saying is you're not destined to $35,000. You can make more doing work that is ministry related, and you can make more. And I think you will. At 25, you're still very young, but the reality is you got some serious options here. I wouldn't say no to this. The first question was, should I take this job? I've been offered an opportunity, but it doesn't make as much as I would like it to make to pay off the debt as fast as I want to pay it off.
Right. Well, she's already in the 37.5. She's talking about moving to another state, doing a similar thing,
right,
at less money even yet.
Well, cost of living.
And so, no, I don't think you can make the move to the other state. So here's the thing. What I'm trying to shake up here, and I'm being snarky to do it, which is my normal method, is the narrative, the idea that A, you have to make less to do what you love. Mm-hmm. That's just not true. It should be the other way. And B, that in order for you to be able to share the gospel and minister in the community, that it has to be in a nonprofit setting, or it has to be in a setting where you don't get paid anything. And none of that is true. Mm-hmm. Those are not true narratives. And so you can be a compassionate, kind, giving, generous person working in a compassionate, giving, kind, generous organization that is Christian-based and sharing the gospel, and there's a lot of places that'll pay more than $35,000 doing that.
Yeah, and I want to point out the last piece of that, though, that if, let's take a teacher. In the largest millionaire study ever done by Ramsey Solutions, third largest group of net worth millionaires, teachers. Median salary, the median in the United States is $60,000. When you find that work you love, you can still pay off debt, and you can still be a millionaire, but you're going to have to live differently and cut your expenses, and you have to take a second job from time to time to pay off that debt. So, it's not about the size of the salary, it's what's my lifestyle to do the work that I love, depending on the profession.
Beautiful thing about the generation of people in their 20s, I think we call it the Peace Corps generation, because they have a heart to serve the community.
Very valuable.
Across the board. Even if they have different belief systems, different faiths, there's a heart to serve. Yeah. It's beautiful. This is The Ramsey Show. have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thank you for joining us, America. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. #1 best-selling author and host of the brand new book that we have launched pre-sale on, From Paycheck to Purpose, The Clear Path to Doing Work You Love. Again, 888-825-5225. Joseph's in Kansas City. Hey, Joseph, what's up?
Oh, not a whole lot. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. How can I help?
I have a career question with a life insurance side question. The question, first of all, is how do I transition my lawn and landscape business from a one-man operation where I do all the work to one where I make the sales and supervise the jobs that I sell? And I can give you as much background as you'd like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we simplify it, you've got to train people to do what you do to the level that you do it, and it may not be exactly that, but pretty darn close to where there's trust transferred from two entities, trust from you to them, to where you actually go do the things that you need to do for the business because you have trained them and you've seen them do the work and they're doing it, and then trust from your customers that they're not seeing you out, in their yard or around doing the landscaping, but they see other people and they see results at the same level you've been doing them. I mean, that really is that simple, and that means you're going to have to train, but then you're going to have to let somebody go and do it and show them and be patient and find people that really enjoy working outside, people that enjoy doing the kind of work you enjoy doing.
Joseph, when I hired the first people I hired 25 years ago, I was stupid. I was so dumb. Okay. I thought if you hired people, they would like work and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn how to lead and how to delegate and work on my business, not just in my business, as my friend Michael Gerber said in the book E-Myth. And so the thing that I learned about what you're doing, which is delegation, from a leadership standpoint, you're going to delegate some of this work. You're going to trust these people with your brand, with your reputation, with your customers. Where you made all the customers happy, the chances of them pissing them off, you're trusting all of that, right? The only way you can do that intelligently is exactly what Ken just outlined, and that is the way you can delegate is you have to trust the people you're delegating to. You have to trust their competence, or can they do the work, and their integrity. Mm-hmm. And you cannot delegate, and you should not delegate to someone until you've trained them sufficiently to trust their competence and their integrity. And it takes a little time. Yeah. Now, it doesn't take a lot of time to delegate, get me a cup of coffee. That's a pretty basic level, right? I need a cup of coffee, I'm in the middle of something, and somebody else goes and gets that. That's a delegated task. Do they come back with the coffee? We can measure the results. Are they competent? Do they have integrity? Did they lie 3 times along the way? I mean, people can screw even that up, right? And so, but now you're saying we have to complete lawn care, and that's probably going to be with you still riding the tractor at first. Mm-hmm. And you're riding with the crews. You're now heading up a crew, and then you find your lead guy in the crew that can lead the guys to do the work at the level you expect, and then you can step back and do that again. But when you delegate to someone just because you hired them and gave them a title, and they have not proven competency and integrity, that makes you stupid. And I was stupid. I did that stuff. And I screwed up some stuff, man. I had to pissed off customers because I thought if I hired a guy to do that or a gal to do that, they just would go do it. That's how dumb I was. And as Zig Ziglar used to say, you can't expect what you don't inspect.
Yeah. That's so good. You know, and I would say this too, that when you're training, those people, those clients are going to see you out there training. That's going to help create a checkpoint list. This is what I expect. I showed you how to do it, but this is what I want done. And then I would stay the face of this. So you're going to sell for new clients, but I also want you to stay as the face of customer service for the new clients. So you're not out there cutting lawns and doing all the stuff, but maybe once a month you show up and go, hey, how's everything going? And I think if you do that, you're still focusing on the right thing. So you're still
check the job for quality.
Yes.
You make sure, I've got a buddy that owns, I think they're running 6 trucks now in the lawn care world, and he's got GPS on everything. He knows where all of them are at all times.
Yeah.
So if they're parked at the gas station for 2.5 hours, when they're supposed to be cutting, he knows what's going on, right? And so you got ways to check and to follow what's going on. You can check the quality of the work, and you have to constantly do that the rest of your life. But the more that they've worked for you and the more they've proven themselves, the more rope you can give them, the more freedom you can give them, because you trust heavier their competence and their integrity. Hold on, we'll send you a copy of the book, Entree Leadership. We outline some of that in that book, and it'll help you get there. And, of course, the way you do that is you've got to get enough accounts going, and it sounds like you're right there that you need the help. And the first thing you do is you staff your own crew. Mm-hmm. And then you put a leader on that crew, and then you staff another crew.
That's exactly right. So it's as simple as, all right, I'm going to do most of this. I'm going to get a sharp young man who wants to work hard. I'm going to teach him. I'm going to get him started. I'm going to run over 3 streets over, and I'm going to get the next one started. And you can get a couple part-timers. You just ease into this, because your reputation is, as Dave said, once you hire somebody and you put them on somebody's lawn, that's your reputation. It's not just their reputation. So one thing I want to tell you to anticipate is I hear this a lot at Entree Leadership events. I'm blessed to speak at those for Ramsey Solutions. We hear this a lot. I can't find anybody who'll do it. Well, that's not true. You've got to ask yourself, why do I like working outside? What about this kind of business got me into it? Find kids like that, because they are. Some people just don't want to be around a bunch of other people, right? They want to do that kind of work.
We hired a guy a long time ago in customer care.
This is a great story.
He came to work, and his third day here, he just stood up, threw off the headset, and went running out to his car and left. And we called him. We're like, dude, where did you go? We went through all this hiring process and everything, and he goes, I just realized I can't work inside.
That's right.
So, when you were interviewing, we told you it was in a building and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I just can't work inside.
Yeah.
I just can't work inside.
So on one hand, we appreciate his honesty. He didn't handle it the best way.
Well, it'd been nice to know up front that,
it would have been nice
that we do our call center inside.
Yeah. Yeah, well, first of all, there's a great clue. If you love working outside with tools and being outside, don't take a call center job. It's not for you.
Yeah. Oh, that was great. He truly. We thought a family emergency or something happened.
Oh, sure.
Stood up, slung the headset down on the desk, and went running out to his car. Just disappeared.
He had had enough.
Yeah. Just after 3 days, 2.5 days. Ugh. This is a hard place to work. We're inside and stuff.
Yeah.
This is the Ramsey Show.
What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings.
Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. We were laughing going into the break about the young man running out of the building. I can't work inside. Well, at Ramsey Solutions, we're hiring.
For inside jobs, I want to point out before Dave goes through this.
They're all inside. They're all indoors. So here's the deal. We are trying to shake up this culture, and we're doing a pretty good job of it. We're trying to disrupt the way people think about careers with the Ken Coleman Show. Most people hate their jobs, and Ken's on a mission to stop that. Most people retire broke. I'm on a mission to stop that. Most people wallow in debt. I'm on a mission to stop that. I want to make the credit card the cigarette of the financial world where nobody wants to do it anymore. It's not cool anymore. Because it is that. It's killing people. But it's a problem. We want to disrupt. If you want to be part of something that's pretty serious disruption, we'd love to have you. If you want to join the crusade, you know, about half of our 1,000 people are technology people because a lot of our products are digital products, obviously. So we've got software engineers with expertise in Ruby on Rails, Java, C#, front-end technologies, UX designers, SEO people, content folks, data engineers, data analysts, and we need all of them. We're hiring about 300 people this year to add to our 1,000. And if you want to check out the available jobs, tech and otherwise, it's a high-tech environment, which means I absolutely do not understand what most of the people that work for me do.
No.
But that's part of it. But I do understand enough about their competence and their integrity to delegate to them.
Yes.
And to their leaders who do know what they're doing. So that's good. So to find out all the available jobs, text WORK to 33789. Text WORK to 33789. Right here at RamseySolutions.com. You can jump on there and find out as well. Tom is with us in Lima, Ohio. Hey, Tom, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave and Ken. It is an absolute honor to speak with both of you.
You too, sir. How can we help?
Okay, so I'll just give you a breakdown of where I'm at, and then I'll get to the question. I'm 19 years old, getting married next year. I have a $118,000 net worth, and here to break that down for you, I got $52,000 in non-retirement, $11,000 in Roth IRA, $25,000 in savings, $28,000 in a paid-for truck, $2,000 in a paid-for car, and I have zero debt of any sort.
Wow. How'd you pull all that off at 19?
I guess I would contribute most of that to my grandfather. He introduced me to his show about 2 years ago, and he's just helped me out between him and you guys. Just a lot of inspiration there and a lot of working hard and savings.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a welder.
Okay. What kind of money are you making?
I'm making about $55,000 a year.
At 19 years old.
Good for you. When did you start welding?
I started welding in a factory whenever I was 16 through a school program, working second shift after I got off school. And then as soon as I got out of high school, I went full-time.
Fantastic. There's a great story, Dave, of the trades.
You are a stud.
Yeah.
I love it. How can we help you, sir?
So my question here today is my grandfather's farm. He is 72 years old, and he's getting closer to finally admitting that he's ready to retire and slow down a little bit. So he wants to sell me the farm. I'm about the last one in the family that's interested in it. The farm is worth about $1.1 million, and he's asking $500,000 for it. And then there's probably roughly $100,000 worth of equipment that I would have to purchase off of him over time. He wants $50,000 down, and he wants to do a land contract, I think is what it's called, at the minimum required interest rate of 1.2% over 15 years. So I guess my question there is, I want to make sure that this is a good financial decision for me, that this isn't going to be too much for me to take on with getting married next year and wanting to start a family after that. The farm brings in about $30,000 a year, so after that, the actual mortgage payment, so to say, on it would only put me at about $500 to $1,000 a month out of my own pocket. And I would plan on tackling that way faster and hopefully having it paid off in about 5 to 10 years.
Do you want to be in the farm business?
Yes.
Not welding. This is what you want to do.
Well, I want to own the farm. Like, I still want to keep my day job of welding, and then it's about a 100-acre farm. So Grandpa's always just done it as a hobby. He always drove truck over the road full time, and then farm too. So that's kind of what I'm wanting to do, is just have this as a way of life, I guess. So I guess the question would be is, I guess based off these numbers, I don't know, it's just a lot to bite off. I want to make sure it's not going to put me in a bad predicament.
Where do you live now? You live at home?
I live with my parents, and I still live with my parents until I get married next year.
How much is your wife going to work outside the home?
Yes, she's going to bring in about $45,000, so that'd be.
So you have a $100,000 household income,
and then I'm currently in the.
And you're going to live on the farm.
Business.
You're going to live on the farm.
Yes.
It has a house on it.
Yep.
Okay.
Probably about 1,700 or 1,800 square foot brick ranch home.
Okay. And what's the rest of the family say about you getting this at 50% discount?
They're all on page for it. So over the last year, we've had a lot of family meetings where Grandpa sat down all the kids, offered it to all of his kids first. None of them really spoke up as interested.
But you're getting 1.2 value for 500.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and he offered it to all of his kids.
And nobody wanted it.
Nope. None of them really have.
I'm taking it. I got to make one adjustment. There's no way under the sun I'm doing a land contract.
Okay.
They're dangerous. Let me explain what a land contract is. It's called a contract for deed. The deed is not in your name. You have a contract that gives you the right to the deed when you pay the property off. If before you pay the property off, the owner of the property were to get sued and have a lien placed on the property, they would not be able to transfer the deed to you even if they wanted to. Your grandpa falls asleep at the wheel and hits somebody head on and they sue him for $500 million for a wrongful death. You lost your farm and it wasn't your fault because it was never in your name. Don't do that.
Okay.
Or your grandpa dies, and all of a sudden his children's memory of the fact that they didn't want this farm goes sideways, and the property's not in your name. It's a contract now with an estate that is now in dispute because your uncle lost his freaking mind when he found out you bought it for 500 instead of 1.2.
Yeah.
And this has never happened in any family, right?
Say that again?
I said this has never happened in any family.
Yeah. Sure.
The property goes into your name or you don't do the deal, and it's called a mortgage then. It's not a land contract.
Okay.
It's an owner-financed mortgage on the terms that you outlined. And then no one can take it from you as long as you abide by the terms of the mortgage. And if you don't, then you could get foreclosed on by the estate, which will be the owner of the mortgage. Your grandpa's estate, when he passes, is who you will owe the money to.
Okay.
And then you go out there and take all the OT you can get and bust your butt and pay this thing off.
That's the plan.
Because it scares the crud out of me. But there's so much that's right here that I'll overlook a couple things that are wrong. I will not overlook that land contract. I would beg and plead with you not to do a land contract.
Okay.
I think I outlined all the risks clearly, didn't I?
Yeah, I do believe so.
Tom, you're a strong young man.
Yeah.
That's a powerful place to be at 19 years old. Mm-hmm. You're biting off a really big chew here.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about it, Dave.
Yeah, it's a lot of chew.
It's a lot of hobby.
Here's the thing.
That's what he's basically saying.
Listen to me. It's in his name.
That's true.
4 years from now,
you're right. It's a nice asset.
You can sell it for 1.5 if you decide you don't want to be there.
You're right. I love it.
If it don't work out, it's going to work out.
That's true. It's good real estate, maybe.
This is the Ramsey Show. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. Athena is with us. Hi, Athena. How are you?
Hi, Dave. How you doing?
Better than I deserve. Where do you live?
I now live in Fort Worth, Texas.
All right. Well, welcome to Nashville. And all the way up here to do a debt-free scream. How much have you paid off?
$93,317.60.
Love it. And how long did this take?
33 months to the day.
Woo! You were kicking it. What was your range of income during that time?
I made 70, changed jobs, took a pay cut, and ended up making up to 78.
Okay. That'll work. Good for you. What kind of debt was the 93?
One car and student loans.
Wow. Okay. So what happened 3 years ago that set you on fire?
Well, I wasn't really on fire for the first year and a half. Made my first job out of college, kind of messed around with my money, had a little fun with it. Was like, I worked really hard for this. I deserve to have a little fun with my money. Moved to Orlando, ended up pulling your book back out that I purchased while I was on an internship in 2017. Read it, took some notes in it,
Why?
put it away.
What made you pull it out?
It was on top. I don't know. It ended up being a God thing. I packed up my everything, moved to Orlando, and when I opened the box, it was on top.
So shuffle the deck thing. Okay.
Pretty much. Read through it again, took some notes, put it away, and then 2020 happened. And I said, well, I'd been saving up for all of these things, these fun things that aren't going to happen, so what do I do now? Pulled the book out again, read through it, and said, well, we're going to kill it. We're done. Scorched earth.
Okay. So the a little bit of wandering along, the book keeps popping up. And what month did you go to complete DEFCON 10 or whatever? I mean, where you just went crazy. What was that, in the middle of COVID?
Yeah, they sent us
like a year ago?
Yeah, they sent us home in March. I've been working from home. Turned on your radio show. It ended at 5 o'clock, and I knew I could get off at 5 o'clock. Started listening to it. The book popped back up, and I said, well, beginning of April, and then a year later.
So the last 14 months of the 33 have been game on.
Absolutely. I paid off double in the last 13 months than I paid off the first.
Yeah. So you didn't do anything. You just paid off debt.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
pretty much.
Finally got there. Okay. Wow. Very cool. How old are you?
I'm 26.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Good for you. What'd you get your degree in? I'm curious.
A mechanical engineering with a minor in economics.
And did you go into that right out of school?
I did, yes.
Are you still in engineering?
I am, yes.
Yeah, so you have a very bright future, too.
And we're having a good time with it.
Yeah,
That's
good. That's awesome.
Good. Very cool.
What was the hardest thing you did? Because you said you didn't do anything, but you also made some tough sacrifices to be able to do that in 14 months. What did you do? What was tough?
The hardest thing was to realize that this wasn't my money. I was making it. I deserved it. I was having fun with it. But it had already been spent.
Wow.
Like, I had already made that choice.
That's good.
Depth there.
That's good.
And that hit me like a ton of bricks about June last year. It's like, well...
What was the weirdest thing you did that your friends all gave you the eye roll for?
The weirdest thing I did was actually do the Ramsey Plus. I went and I took these courses, and I was telling a couple of friends of mine, hey, I've run out of things to do. You can only watch so much TV. And so I started taking a financial wellness course, and they looked at me and they're like, you need a financial wellness course? Don't you make too much money to have problems? I was like, no, we all have different issues. Yeah. So did that, took all of the money I was saving for a family vacation we were planning to take overseas, said, well, they're not going to let us into their country anyway right now, and threw it at my debt.
Wow. And now you're free.
Absolutely.
You glad you did it?
Absolutely. I actually will be finishing up my 6-month emergency fund at the end of the month, and it's everything is different.
Yeah. How's it feel?
Shock. It feels like shock. You don't really know what you're doing until you start putting your money away to make the next payment, and then get the letter that says, congratulations, here's the check for the overpayment you made of 1 cent.
Cost us $16 to generate this check.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Wow. Good for you. What do you tell people the key to getting out of debt? Now that you've had the book pop up and you went through Financial Peace University at Ramsey Plus, you've done it all. What's the key to getting out of debt?
The key that I've been telling people, the few people that have asked me is, we want to do what you did, and it's like, you're not going to do what I did. Your journey is going to be different from my journey, which was different from all of these people that I listened to their debt-free screams on the radio. I did it on one income. You just got married. You have two incomes, or, it's going to look different, but that doesn't make it wrong.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Good insight.
Yeah.
Very well done. Good job. Very proud of you. Who are your biggest cheerleaders?
I have to say my biggest cheerleaders were my sister, two wonderful mentors, Alex and Josh, and my wonderful boyfriend here, Drew, who looked at me and said, you're kind of crazy, but we're here for you. Like, what do you want to do? What's going to make you successful? We want to see you do this.
I love it.
That's great. That's really good. Now, that's an interesting thing, Dave. So when you said they looked at you like you're kind of crazy, they're like, I'm not sure you need to. You're a mechanical engineer. You don't need to be this gazelle intense. They didn't use those words. But that's essentially the emotion. Am I understanding you right?
Yes.
And yet they still said, but we support you. And I think that's important. People who, they may not see it, but they're going to at least support you.
Yeah.
That's important because not everybody's going to see this.
Yeah, you got to have community.
This is very countercultural.
Yeah. Way to go.
Good for you.
Proud of you. Excellent job, hero.
Yeah.
You took control of your life. You got a bright, bright future ahead of you. You're going to be able to do anything you want to do after you've done this. You climbed the mountain. Well done, well done. We got a copy of The Legacy Journey for you. That's the next chapter in your story because you have changed your whole legacy. And a copy of The Total Money Makeover. You can give it to someone. It'll just keep appearing in their life until they finally do it. It's like a bad penny. It just keeps showing up. I love it. America's largest coaster for coffee tables everywhere.
I love it. She just opened it up. Your face is right there.
Total Money Makeover. There it is again. It just pops up. It's just a reoccurring theme. So well done, Athena. We love it. Fort Worth, Texas, $93,000 paid off in 33 months, making 70 to 78. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. I'm debt-free!
That is absolutely fabulous. Now, what's key here is, and sometimes people miss this stuff because some of you watch the news too much, and you need to turn it off. It's a bunch of crap.
Amen.
But all you hear about millennials and 20-somethings is how they're all participation trophy, avocado toast eating, no ambition, live in their mother's basement, useless. And we know at Ramsey that that's just not true because of two things. One is we see them on our debt-free stages every day. We have these 20-somethings that show up. They're just amazing. That kid, 19 years old a few minutes ago, calling in here. Absolute amazing young people. Mature way beyond some of you that have your lips stuck out and you're 55 years old. Somebody ought to smack that scowl off your face. And they're just unbelievable. Yeah. And we know they're amazing. We've also got a building full of them. And we don't hire people at Ramsey that aren't rock stars and that don't care deeply and that aren't excellent at their jobs, and they have a tremendous work ethic. And they're the easiest to interview because there's only two kinds of millennials, awesome and sucks. And so they'll just tell you, I don't really want to work much, and I want to know what your benefits package is. Well, you suck. Your next interview, we want somebody in here that's going to work. Yeah. And we want somebody like her that's fired up and wired up, man. Whoever hired her, they got a jewel.
Oh, rock star.
This is The Ramsey Show. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today as we answer your questions about your life and your money. Luke is with us. Luke is in Kansas City. Hi, Luke. What's up?
Hey, guys. Good afternoon. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. How can I help?
So I travel through the Midwest selling building materials in 4 states, Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska. I drive my own vehicle, and the company gives me a vehicle reimbursement program. As you can imagine, I drive about a lot of miles, about 40,000 a year, and certainly have racked up the miles on my personal vehicle. My question is, should I buy a second vehicle exclusive to work travel only and separate the two, since they do give me so much money a month?
Well, the misnomer is that the money that you get for vehicle reimbursement all has to be spent necessarily on vehicles. That's not true. It's just part of your income. And then you just have this unusually large expense associated with your job, which is gas, maintenance, and replacement of a vehicle you destroy the value of every 2 years. And so
that's correct.
Yeah, you've got a budget for that. If you want to it's not a bad idea to get a second car, but the reasoning for that is not that they give you so much money, because they really don't give you so much money after we factor in the loss in value on whatever you're driving, because whatever you drive, you destroy it value-wise.
That's right.
And so, what I always tell road warriors is that it's a business expense, and the goal with business expense is to do the minimum expense, thereby maximizing profits. And so the less we spend on car, the more money you have. And how do we minimize the damage done to your finances with you being on the road all the time? And so my formula is you buy the least expensive vehicle that will get the job done, in quotes. Now, let me describe to you what I think get the job done is in this situation. If I spend 40,000 miles a year in a car, it's going to be a decent car that rides well. I'm not doing that in a freaking Dodge Neon, okay? Because you'll be in the chiropractor. You got to have something that's a decent ride, because you're in the car all the time. Okay, so that's part of get the job done. The second part is it has to obviously be reliable. But you don't take a $60,000 vehicle and go destroy it. You take a $20,000 or $15,000 vehicle and go destroy it. And then you figure out what that does, and every 2 years or every 3 years, however you want to do it. I mean, 120,000 miles, 80,000 miles, you got to roll that thing over and do it again. But you've lost every bit of the value during the time you drove it. And that's just part of your reality, and that's okay. It's like you own a heat and air company and you got 4 trucks in your fleet going out and calling on houses. It's part of your cost of doing business. So, but you want to limit that. You don't go buy a $150,000 service truck if you're in the heat and air business, and if you're smart anyway. And so that's how I would do it. And now we got a $12,000 or a $15,000 whatever. Okay, you call it whatever you want to call it. I don't care. It's got reasonable gas mileage. It's reasonable comfort and is reliable. Now, do we spend some more money on something that sits in the driveway most of the time that is my, quote, real car, unquote, that I don't plan on destroying? And if you want to do that, either way, you're going to pay cash for both, and both of them are going to go down in value, but obviously the one on the road is going to go down the most and the fastest. And that's how I look at being a road warrior in that. Anything we've got around here, we do the same thing. You're amateurizing the expense. Another example in our world is we spend a lot of money on computers around here. 1,000 people, and they've all got a computer. And you know what that computer's worth in 2 years? Nothing.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Nothing.
And Dave is okay with that. It doesn't bother him at all.
It's not a problem. It's a doorstop after 2 years.
Yeah.
It's like, something else comes out. And the same with this stuff. I got, $2 million in this stinking studio, and all the wires and the electronics and the spaceship. It looks like you're in there running NASA or something. Mm-hmm. And, it's probably got a 5-year shelf life.
Wow.
And so you just got to look at that and go, okay, stinking stuff is going to deteriorate. The electronics don't deteriorate, but the stuff that they plug into on the other end becomes obsolete.
Might I make a suggestion, Dave, to see if you like it? I'm opening myself up here.
Okay.
All right, so we're talking cash. We gave this man advice. It's got to be cash. Maybe he gets a car that runs, but it's an older car, a classic car, and the value doesn't go down. He's on the road Monday through Friday, and when he's driving around on the weekends, I'm just saying.
He's in his Carmen Ghia?
Maybe.
Like yours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That car's going up in value each year.
It's not bad.
And it runs.
Not bad.
I'm just saying.
My 1960 Corvette's actually going to go up in value, but there's very few things that go up in value that have motors and wheels.
Yeah.
Very few things. And they don't go up much.
No.
It's not like you're going to make money.
No, this isn't like real estate.
And it's not got, neither one of those cars have the creature comforts of a modern vehicle either.
That's true.
There is no...
But it's not a horrible idea is what I'm asking.
It's not a bad idea.
I don't mind. I'm saying, hey, if you take that
you can have a little cool get-around car on the weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, just something fun to tool around in, a weekend ride.
Yeah.
But it's not your, quote, daily drive.
No.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea. But, again, you don't want to spend $100,000 on that.
Oh, no. You can't have a lemon. And you got to be smart about this purchase.
Yeah, in terms of, the purchase price doesn't have to be that. It's
No.
It's a driver, so it's not a museum piece. So it's an interesting world. But, yeah. The thing is, you're going to lose the money on it.
Yeah.
And so, Alex is with us in Austin, Texas. Hey, Alex, welcome to the Ramsey Show. I pushed the wrong button, didn't I? Alex is in Austin, Texas. Hey, Alex, how are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. I thought I was the one that messed up.
No, that would be me. You would think after 30 years of radio I could push the right freaking button. What's up?
Okay, so I am 25. I have $18,700 left in a student loan, and I recently took a new job in May. And my previous company, I had a bunch of RSUs, so stock that I had, and that's about $16,000. I've read numerous things. I don't know if they've been from Ramsey or elsewhere that were kind of advising against selling stock to pay off debt and tax implications and all that. So I'd kind of just love your take on that, because I could see $16,000 and probably 2 more paychecks, and that debt's gone. So,
yeah. Well, you did not read from Ramsey anything that we wrote that said don't sell stocks to pay off debt, because we always say sell stocks and pay off debt. So it was quite the opposite. And RSU is a restricted stock unit. Is it still restricted?
No, these are all mine now. Yeah.
So you're fully vested and you can turn them off, and it's fully. And it's $16,000 worth, and it makes you almost debt free.
Correct.
Yeah, I'll do that by in the next 2 hours.
Today. Okay.
Immediately. Don't hesitate. Do it. Be done with it. Because here's the thing. Let's pretend you had no debt. Would you go borrow on a student loan to buy restricted stock units?
No, of course not.
Effectively, that's what your balance sheet says.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So if you kept them, it's as if you bought them again using student loan money to do it, because you should have sold them and paid off your student loans. So all those other articles you read were wrong.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, restricted stock units, folks, are in initial public offerings. This is a brand new startup company, and which makes this particular company, by definition, volatile.
Yeah.
And so what you do is you get out while the getting is good, because everything doesn't turn into Apple and Facebook. I'm just saying.
3 words: cash out, baby.
That's it. I'm done.
And then you're debt free with another couple checks. That's huge.
That's fun. That's fun.
And there he is, another in mid-20s.
And so it turns out the stock benefit was a blessing.
It's a fantastic
blessing. But we're going to use it wisely. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. Stay tuned.
It's Kelly, associate producer for The Ramsey Show. This episode is over, but if you heard about an event, product, or service and didn't have a chance to write it down, don't worry. We list everything you've heard about during this episode in the podcast show notes section, or head to theramseyshow.com. Thanks for listening.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Dean is with us in Pullman, Washington. Hi, Dean. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Well, first, I just want to say it's an honor to talk to you. I have a question regarding a piece of scripture and then wealth. And you probably definitely know it, but it's in Mark 10, and he talks about that it's easier for a camel to enter through the eye of the needle than a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. My question is, what is your advice on how to take that verse into account when establishing a life and investing and essentially building wealth? What's your advice on that?
Well, I appreciate your question. I'm going to send you a copy of the book, The Legacy Journey, and I unpack the rich young ruler at quite length there, but I'll give you a radio version of that story because it's something that comes up a lot these days. The concept being, obviously, a camel cannot go through the eye of a needle, which means if you just take that exact scripture, exactly the way you read it, then rich people are not going to heaven. Right?
Right. Right.
Well, this is a bit problematic from a practical standpoint for two reasons. One reason is this. If you make $39,000 a year, which is about 40% of the, about 60% of the average household income in America, you are in the top 1% of income earners in the entire world.
Yeah.
So if you live in North America and you make $39,000 a year, if you take that scripture the way you presented it, most people listening to this right now are going to hell. Well, that's a little absurd when you think about it. Okay, number one. So we kind of have to, then we have to pan back and go, okay, so what's wrong with the equation that I was using to look at that? What's wrong with this? Well, number one, in the first century following Christ, there was a group of heretics called the Gnostics. And the Gnostics believed that, and there's still Gnosticism in the world today, the Gnostics believed that anything of substance, anything of material was evil, and only the spiritual was holy. So things like filthy money, that kind of thing came up then, and anything had to do with wealth, anything that had to do with owning a shirt, anything that is physical is by definition evil. Even they thought their own bodies were evil. Where our scripture in evangelical Christianity believes that that God is blessing us and loves us and created good things for us in living in abundance. Now, big deal with this is the Gnostics were heretics because they believed that you could not go to heaven if you had material goods, much like we were just discussing. Now, why is that heretical? Why does that make you a heretic if you believe that? Because those of us that are followers of Jesus believe that the blood of Jesus at the cross, Jesus' sacrifice, when you believe on that you're going to heaven. Whether you were a murderer before, whether you were a prostitute before, or even a rich person before.
Yeah.
But if the blood of heaven is good enough to get a prostitute or a murderer into heaven, and it's not good enough to get a rich person into heaven, that is heresy. Follow me?
Yeah.
Because you're breaking down the work that was done at the cross. Now, we're having a very biblical Christian discussion here, but it's a very biblical Christian question. And so it's the only way to address it. Now, let's go back to that particular story and pan out just a little bit. Because you can take a single line of Scripture and completely create a toxic movement over it if you don't take it in context. And so pan back a little bit. Let's go back to the whole story. Number one, where did this occur? It occurred in Jerusalem. Jerusalem was the home of the spiritual elite, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And if you were a rich young ruler, you were by definition part of the religious elite. If you were in Jerusalem. Now, if this had occurred in Galilee, he might have been a merchant. But because the merchants would have been the wealth holders there. But since it occurred in Jerusalem, we know by definition from historical fact that he was a part of the religious elite, which Jesus, by the way, had very little use for, if you remember. And so he walks up and says, "Good teacher, what have I got to do to enter heaven?" And the good teacher says, "You have to keep the law." And he said, "I've done this since my youth," which of course is impossible. No one keeps the law completely. And so that was an arrogant but statement.
Yeah.
Okay. But Jesus plays along and says, "Okay, now that you've done that, let's prove it. Sell all that you have and give it to the poor." And he goes away with his head hung low because, by the way, the wealth that he had gotten, he did not earn. The wealth that he had gotten had been given to him because of his status in the religious community. And he went away with his head hung low because he was a person of great wealth. Jesus turned to the crowd and said, "It's harder for a harder for a rich man to get into heaven than it is a camel to get through the eye of a needle," right? And that's where it is. Now, here's where the magic happens. Not magic. Here's where the answer happens. You keep reading. You keep reading. And the disciples then are amazed. They were amazed that rich people can't get to heaven. And Jesus turns and says, "No one does. No one gets to the Father except through the Son."
That's right.
So this was not a teaching on wealth is a prohibitor to heaven. This is a teaching on grace, that the only way to him, to the Father, is through the Son. And that's what Bible believers believe. But then what happens is people either they have an axe to grind, they're jealous, they have problems, they're socialists, they're whatever they are, and they want to get in and figure out that somehow Christianity is inconsistent or full of hypocrites, and they pull one line of Scripture out of the story, out of historical context, and out of the context of what Jesus was actually talking about. The reason the story is recorded is because of that final line where Jesus looks at him and says, "One way to the Father, through the Son."
Yeah, through him.
And
even the rich people.
Yeah.
So that's the answer to your question, Dean. So then it becomes, okay, what are we called to do as believers? We are called to manage, not to own. We're called to be kind and generous. We're called to do good with the money that we take care of. First step is take care of your own household first, or you're worse than an unbeliever. Scripture. And then you work your way through, and you're supposed to manage things for the good of the kingdom if you are a believer. And that's what you're called to do. And so, last time I checked, poor people aren't feeding hungry kids. This is The Ramsey Show.
Life is full of firsts. As the first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Thanks for joining us. We're glad you're here. Melissa is with us in Seattle. Hi, Melissa. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you very much.
Hey, what's up?
So, I had a question on what we should do first. So we have everything paid off besides my car, which we owe about $10,000 on, which we should have paid off within the next 6 months. And then my student loan, which is massive, at least massive to me. And so I'm a stay-at-home mom, and my husband's an electrician. And so he works for the union where, even though he personally has an experience, they do come in these periods where sometimes they don't have work for periods of time. So my question with that is, should we save after we pay off the car? Should we save towards that $10,000 in case something like that happens, or should I just knock out the student loan debt?
What's your degree in?
Health information management.
How many kids have you got?
4.
Got a house full. What ages?
Yeah. 1 to 13.
Wow. Whoa. You are a busy lady. Okay. What does he make?
Altogether, net with the VA benefits that he also has, we get about $90,000 net.
90?
Yes.
Okay. And how much is your massive student loan?
80.
80. Okay. All right. With a $10,000 car debt, that means you need $90,000, making $90,000 to be debt free. With 4
yes,
kids.
And we have a son who's going to private school too, which we were kind of cornered into because of the Washington state laws that have been passed recently.
I'm not aware of what you're talking about.
Basically, we were kind of cornered into putting him in private school because we felt that the public school district has become very unhealthy, teaching kids they should not be teaching. And my son was being bullied as well at school because he's a Christian.
Okay. And how much does private school cost?
A little bit under $8,000.
Okay. All right. So if we said $30,000 a year, that'd be pretty aggressive in your situation in debt reduction. You'd be debt free in 3 years. Okay. The more unstable your husband's job is, the more you would push pause on all of this and pile up cash. But I don't think it's that unstable. I think it's just unpredictable.
Yes, and the most he hasn't worked since he started a couple of years ago was 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But then there in the history of the union, there was guys who didn't work like in 2008 where they didn't work for a year.
Yeah, in which case he'd go get another job.
Yeah, Melissa, I'm curious about this too. If you guys sat down and discussed union versus not union electrician opportunities for him, even in the state of Washington?
His union, he will not make what he makes where he is at. I mean, they make over $60 an hour, free insurance. Our union, the employers pay the insurance, great pension. There's no one that's going to touch what he makes.
Okay, all right.
Has he actually shopped it, or is that just what the union told him?
No, so right now he's an apprentice, so he's getting a percentage of that. But once he is licensed in 2 years, he will be making that, and that is what they make for everybody. And we get great insurance that's completely employer paid. He's not going to, and they're one of the best in Washington.
Yeah. How open is he to doing side work as well, whether it be electrician work or any other kind of handy work, because he's got more talents than just electrician?
Yes, actually we used to own our own construction business as that, but I know he's been trying to work a lot of Saturdays as much as he can.
Good.
And he is okay doing side work. He can't do it with being an electrician because it's against the law in Washington.
Okay.
How long has he been? How long has he been out of work? What's the longest he has been out of work?
2 weeks.
And how long ago was that?
Last November.
Okay. All right. And you can't eat on $1,000 in 2 weeks. Yes, you can. Okay, so I'm gonna stick with the baby steps, and I'm gonna put you on a scorched earth budget, and he's gonna pick up all the extra he can work. You go to $1,000 in the bank in case he's off for 2 weeks, or in case some other little thing comes up. 2 weeks is not gonna kill you, and you're not gonna be out of food. Everything's gonna be okay. And if you see a long layoff coming, he needs to change jobs. Because your family can't afford for him to have a long layoff. And then in the midst of that, you got to start really beating the snot out of this debt. And I want you debt-free in 3 years, 100% debt-free in 3 years. That's the schedule. That's $2,500 a month for 3 years. And you can do this, but I'm telling you, you got your hands full with 4 kids. You got a lot of stuff coming at you right now, a lot of different issues that you outlined in this call, and so there's a certain amount of grown-up stress with what you're dealing with. And I think you can do it, though. I really think you can do it, and it's what I would do if I were in your shoes. Because I think the best life for you 3 years from today is to do what I just said versus something else. And, you can have a pile of cash sitting there if you want. It's not what we teach. And the only way I would teach a pile of cash sitting there is if you have a high probability that you're getting ready to lose your job, in which case you need to change directions on the union versus non-union direction. Because I can promise you that there's a housing boom in Seattle, and you can get a job as an electrician, and you're pretty much feeding me the union line back. Yeah. When we're asking you about this. Yeah. Good insurance, good insurance, good insurance. $60 an hour. You can't make that anywhere else. Only he doesn't make $60 an hour, and he doesn't average that if he gets laid off for 6 months. Mm-hmm. So I'm not anti-union, but you just can't. You got to assess the entire opportunity here compared to being non-union, and then decide which one. I'm okay if he wants to stay union, but you can't have it both ways. You can't go, oh, it's completely unstable, I'm freaked out, but it's the best job in the world.
Right. And let's be very clear, a qualified electrician that is in a non-union situation can eat all he wants to eat. It is an all-you-can-eat buffet right now out there as far as work goes. So I don't know that you can't make more than $60 an hour. If I was trying to get out of debt and I was an electrician, you can make up some ground right now, and that's not going anywhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Brandon is in Detroit. Hi, Brandon. How are you?
I am well. How are you guys?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
All right. So I am a full-time nurse, and I started a business called Photos. And what this is I go into restaurants, take professional pictures of their menu items, post them to my website, foodphotos.com, and give them QR codes so their customers have direct access to these pictures. Mm-hmm. Now, I am having a very hard time getting my information in the hands of restaurant owners.
Why?
And I've tried multiple ways. One, going in and trying to speak to the owner. Mm-hmm. The person at the front door shoos me away. Second approach, go in, eat their food, take pictures of it, talk to the owner or a manager and show them what I do and show them how I can make their food look amazing. And they say, okay, we'll take your information, and I never hear from them again. I am told that it'll cost between $5,000 and $10,000 for a consultant.
Oh, bull crap. Hold on a minute. We'll talk to you after this break. That's cray-cray. We're talking with Brandon in Detroit. He's got a side hustle where he's taking pictures of restaurant food, putting a QR code for the restaurant customer at the table to be able to look and see a picture of the food when they get ready to do their order. Having trouble getting restaurant owners to buy in. Brandon, do you have, and he had a $10,000 offer for some consultant, which is BS, to do advertising for him, meaning that the guy made one sale, him. So Brandon, do you have any customers at all?
I do. I have 3 customers.
Okay. What price point? Medium, high end, low end?
Right now, I know how COVID impacted the world, especially the restaurant industry. I am an Instagrammer with a few thousand
No, that isn't what I asked. I said, how expensive is the food at the 3 that you have? Middle, high, low?
Okay. I see. Okay, it is low to medium.
Okay. So those guys know other guys that are their competitors and friends and will make a phone call for you if you ask them to. Ken has a book called The Proximity Principle, and there's more that happens with relationship hands-off than cold call walking in the door. Cold call walking in the door, you're going to get thrown out by every angry 21-year-old hostess in the world. You're going to get booted by the maitre d' every time. But if you can get a couple of these guys to call a couple of the other guys, and that'll open up everything for you. Hold on. We're going to have Kelly give you a copy of The Proximity Principle. I wish I had time to completely unpack and do a full business plan for you. I think your idea is cool, but we are on a schedule around here. We have trains to catch and people to take care of. So sorry about that. In the lobby of Ramsey Solution on the debt-free stage, Matt and Sammy are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Great. Good. How are you?
So here to do a debt-free scream. Where do you live?
Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Love it. Love it. Well, welcome to Nashville. How much have you paid off?
We have paid off $56,000 in 10 months.
Good for you. And your range of income during that time?
Range of income was $75,000 to $109,000.
Excellent. Okay, good. What do you guys do for a living?
We're restaurant managers, actually. Funny
so how does he get to see you?
Yeah. I'm the general manager of a buffet chain restaurant, actually, and she's the assistant general manager of the same one. We do oversee a couple other restaurants as well, and then we had some side gigs of health coach. We decided, we need to do something about our weight, especially, being in the restaurant industry. It's so easy to eat all of the food all the time. So we were like, let's just, jump in, let's join a program and lose some weight. So we did that, and then we decided to health coach as well, which was great for us because it was extra income.
Yeah.
And then we also did DoorDash. We would do that together frequently.
Wow. What kind of debt was the $56,000?
It was a college degree and then 2 car loans.
All right. So what was the wake-up call 10 months ago that made you decide, hey, we got to do this?
Oh, a lot of it was, we had a credit card, and every month it was $2,000, and it was like, where is this going? What is it? So we were just like, we got to figure something out. So I put the credit card down, started envelopes, and within envelopes, I saved $11,000 in 5 months. And I'm like, holy cow. So done with the credit card, we just started doing cash for everything, and it was crazy to see how much money we could save up so quick. And that's really what opened my eyes a lot.
Yeah.
And
When I graduated college, student loans came due, and I was paying $900 a month, and that just made me sick to my stomach. Yeah,
I guess so.
It was crazy. So.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So then you connected with us how?
I listened to a radio show in the morning, and they always talked, Dave Ramsey this, and you gotta save up all your money and use it on your debt and then save it for this. And I was like, they talk about this guy kind of a lot. Maybe I should look into him. So I was like, let's just look into him. Searched your podcast, and I didn't turn it off. It was on all day. I went to bed listening to it. I woke up and listened to it. I listened to it as much as I could. During COVID, at the restaurant, we were closed for dine-in. So I was in the kitchen. I would listen to it in the kitchen. I would try to get other staff to be like, hey, check this out, So it's just crazy to see what can be done, when you put down your credit card and really just use cash.
You knocked this in the head in 10 months. That's $5,600 a month, making 75 to 100. That's rocking it.
Yep. And 4 years ago, we actually had 101,000. So we paid off total 101,000.
Wow.
So.
Wow. How's it feel to be free?
So good. It's still pretty fresh, but it's just great. I wake up super early now, and it's like 8 a.m. I wake up, I get up out of bed before she's out of bed, and I'm like, hey, it's payday. I get to, just pay off that loan, or, now it's like, I get to put this much into our savings. It's just exciting to see what we can do now versus before it was, I got to pay the loan, which was exciting, but at the same time, it's not ours anymore. Now it's growing in this bank, and it's just like, oh my goodness. So it is really cool to see that.
Great job, guys. Very good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, I see you two, and you can see just the smiles, and as you were sharing the story about all the different things you did, DoorDash, you guys were doing everything. How important is it for couples to really get on the same page, not just in the concept of the budgeting and the baby steps, but I mean getting after it together, because you both were getting after it hard. Why is that so important?
Well, it's important, because you can't do anything alone. There was a few months where we were doing things differently because, we weren't 100% connected in it yet. There was times where I was putting, I was paying this, and then we were going out to eat here, and it's like, well, we didn't do, nothing helped there, So at one point we're like, we need to figure this out together. And once we did that, it just took off. $56,000 10 months is not something that happens on a mistake. You are intentional doing it, and we always reminded ourselves, we're doing it now so we can live like no one else later. And that is really what motivated us to continue.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. Live like no one else so that later you can live and give like no one else. You guys are amazing. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Way to go, rock stars. Very good. They're absolute heroes. They took control of their lives. How old are you?
28.
27.
And not even 30 years old. Wow. Debt free. How's it feel to be free again?
Free.
Amazing.
I love it. Well done. We've got a copy of The Legacy Journey for you. That is the next chapter in your story for sure. You've changed your whole legacy. Way to go.
Thank you.
Very cool. And we've got a copy of the Total Money Makeover for you to give away to someone and help them start their journey and get them moving. You never know where it's going to come from, whether it's the morning show guys talking about us or what's going on.
How about that?
That's pretty cool. I'll take it every time, man. Thanks, Green Bay. We appreciate you. Our affiliate up there is awesome. That's very cool. Good stuff. Very, very good stuff. All right, it's Matt and Sammy, Green Bay, Wisconsin. $56,000 paid off in 10 months, making 75 to 109. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
That is fabulous. Well, so well done. So well done. Absolutely fun. There's always a story about hard work and extra income. And the good news is right now in America, it's available everywhere. There's a shortage of workers.
Yeah. It's unbelievable time, Dave, for people to actually switch. People are paying more than they would normally pay to attract you if you're talented. They're offering increased benefits such as signing bonuses, tuition reimbursement, or in some cases, full tuition. And I'm always struck by every time we do a debt-free scream. I've yet to hear one where there wasn't an increase in income through the journey. I love that we always look at that, and that speaks to what you're talking about, the hard work. They see the prize. It's so sweet to look through the glass and see Sammy's tears because there's hard work there. There's accomplishment. There's sacrifice. And so the tears are tears of joy because of the accomplishment. It's worth it, Dave, every time.
When you leave it all on the field and you break through the tape on the finish line.
Yes, sir. Tears of joy.
That's worth crying. I'm just saying.
That's right.
I cry every time I do that.
And to be finished.
Just happy to be done.
Yeah.
Just so happy to be here.
That's so true.
This is The Ramsey Show. Scripture of the day, Matthew 6:20 and 21. Store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Robert Louis Stevenson said, don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. Mitch is with us. Mitch is in Phoenix. Hi, Mitch. How are you?
I'm great, Dave.
Good. What's up?
So I'm a smaller general contractor. I specialize in small to medium, large commercial construction projects. And one of the things we've been having trouble this last year is cash flow. A big time with delays in material and just labor shortages, like everything, just cash flow. And it's been really hard to try and catch up. We've paid off a significant amount of debt over the last 18 months, even through all these issues, but still are having cash flow problems. And one of the solutions my wife and I have been kicking around, and it's kind of bittersweet, is to sell our house to help out with the problems we've been having. And yeah.
Okay, if you have a labor shortage, then you don't have money going out for labor. How does that create a cash flow problem?
Well, we're pushing on large commercial projects. We can be out anywhere from 60 to 90 days worth of labor. So yes, we have a labor shortage, which is causing us to not be able to hire the amount of employees we need to do the work. So it's causing me to go out in the field instead of doing my job in the office, if that makes sense.
But that doesn't cause cash flow problems.
You're right. It's putting out the money for 60 to 90 days. So,
but you're not putting out the money because the people aren't working because there's a shortage.
Okay, well, I misspoke. I apologize.
No, I'm trying to understand, because that's just okay. So, but what is happening is your contractors are jerking you around more than ever.
Well, no. So we're a sub. So we're a general contractor specializing in. We're a sub for all intents and purposes. So we subcontract. We do millworks, construction, and door and hardware is what we specialize in. But we're a general contractor.
Okay, so you go and you install millwork and doors, and then it's 60 to 90 days before you get paid.
Yep.
Yeah. So
and that's the way it's always been.
That's the way it's always been. And it got worse during COVID because of the banks weren't coming. These are all bank finance projects. So they're anywhere from
Okay, so I'm back to my point. Your contractor that brought you in to put the windows and doors in is jerking you around because the bank's jerking him around, jerking his client around. And they're throwing you out another 30 or 45 days beyond what your business model used to be.
Yeah, as they say, crap rolls downhill.
Yeah, it does. And so your problem is your house isn't going to fix your problem.
That's right. That's exactly
right. You're right. And you're completely right. And
you have a business model that's broken.
Yeah.
Okay? So you are going to have to quit taking bad business. And bad business is business that does not pay on time.
Okay.
Now you have a broken business model. And so you're going to have to go, contractors who are going to jerk me around, who are not going to pay their bill on time, are not going to get my services. Because I would rather do nothing than work for somebody and not get paid on time and get my tail in a crack.
Yeah.
And it's gotten better, Dave.
No, stop it.
Through this whole,
you called me up to sell your own home to fix this business model problem. Now you're defending it.
Well, I agree. I guess the amount of equity in the house was just a thought process.
Yeah, what it is. My problem is you're treating the symptom, not the problem.
Yes. And I think you're also ignoring how much leverage you have, Mitch. Do you not feel you have leverage? I mean, they need you to get the job done. There's a reason why you're in business, because contractors aren't doing that work. Am I right?
Yeah, and there really is, and like I said, it's not like every project's that. It's like we paid off a significant amount.
I know.
Of debt,
I just told you. You've been dealing with bad ones and good ones. You need to fire the bad ones, and your cash flow problems are going to go away.
Call their bluff, Mitch. If they need you as much as I think they, then
50% up front.
Yeah.
50% deposit, or I don't show up.
Yeah.
because you've not been paying on time.
That's exactly right. You've got more leverage.
I just changed my terms with you. They're cash on delivery.
Yeah.
Because you don't pay your bills.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'd rather not take the job. Take fewer jobs, make better margin with people you want to work with and pay on time. That, you know, you say
I agree,
no.
Dave, that's why I'm calling in.
Yeah.
But I also was trying to, you know, maybe find a way to help pay off past debt, you know, from the business and be able to have a safety net, you know what I mean, to be able to take those hits, you know.
I don't want you to take those hits. I want you to turn this business model over where they take the hits, not you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I've got a friend that'll make $1 million net profit this year on a remodeling company. He does residential remodeling. If you want him to come into your house and do remodeling, do you know what you have to do? 50% up front before he sets foot on the dadgum job.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's not cash flowing his customers' needs. They're cash flowing their own needs, and he's simply executing the work. But he's demanding. Oh, and by the way, he's a phenomenal contractor.
Yeah.
The work gets done, and it is pristine.
Yes.
And he's making bank.
Here's the deal, Mitch. I'm just going to shoot you straight. You're in one of the hottest real estate markets in the country. In what is one of the most historically hot real estate. Yeah, no pun intended. And you have leverage. You need to start acting like it. Dave's exactly right. You need to man up and just tell these guys, stop screwing around, or I'm going to hold your doors, or I'm going to hold this, or I'm not going to do it. And you go find somebody else who's not going to do the job that I'm going to do. This has to stop today.
Yeah,
it has to stop.
I got a $50 million commercial project going right on the hill right here, right now. And I'll guarantee you, if I don't, I'm the customer. And I've got a commercial general contractor up there doing it. And when we sit down and do pay, and it's $2 million, if I don't write that check, you know what happens to work up there?
Nothing.
It stops.
That's exactly right.
And that's not because they're bad guys.
No,
it's our deal.
Yeah,
they're not my bank.
Yeah,
and I'm not. I'm my bank.
Yeah,
and their job is to build stuff, not be my. You're playing banker here.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you've just got you need to cut out about 10% of your customers, and they're causing 90% of your problems.
Yeah.
And then the other, and about another 15 or 20% of your customers need to be taught new tricks.
Yeah. And you don't have to be a jerk, but you can be direct.
No.
You can be direct and go, hey, look, this stops.
It's not being unkind. It's just going, this is the deal.
That's right.
My buddy that gets 50% up front, he's not a jerk.
No.
He's a wonderful man. He's a craftsman. But he's not working for you. Unless you put them, he's not your bank.
Yeah, and don't tell me the banks are flush with cash right now.
No. They were jerking people around during COVID.
Oh, during COVID.
They were not issuing.
I agree with
they
that.
were sitting at home with their thumb in their ear instead of going to work, and they were not issuing checks on these construction loans, and so the construction loans were not going out to the owner, and the construction, and then the owner wasn't paying the general, and the general's not paying his subs.
But that's not the
and he's right.
environment
Crap
now.
rolls downhill, and it rolls downhill from Bank of America. That's what it rolls.
Right.
So, because there's a big load of it over there to roll downhill. So, but that's just, that's the way that actually was happening. He's right
but it's
about
not
that.
now.
But here's the thing. You got a general contractor that's doing a $50 million project. He's got some bank.
He'll find the money if the doors aren't installed.
Door guy.
Trust me. He's got so much leverage.
Don't
Don't sell your house.
I want you to throw your shoulders back and strut around a little bit more, son.
Seriously.
Oh man, you got the stuff. You're in the driver's seat more than you think you are. Please don't sell your house to fix those people's problems. Please don't do that. Please don't do it. You may want to sell it for other reasons, but don't do it for that reason. Ken Coleman, good hour. Ben and Kelly, great hour. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
This is James Childs, producer of The Ramsey Show. You can listen to all our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. Browse by topic or even send clips to your friends. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today.